Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about major events and minor events inside stories. Now, a major event is something that has to happen to support the story so that the story can go on and make sense. And a minor event is something that doesn't necessarily have to be there, but it's just fun or entertaining to have. So I want to know, do you know what this is? It's a stool, right? Now this is a stool that I use in my classroom. And if you came and you sat on this stool, would it hold you up? What parts make it so that you would be held up? These legs, right? They're the most important part of this whole stool. If we didn't have the legs, would you be supported? Or if one of the legs was broken or not here, could you sit on this stool? Would it be a safe choice? No. So the legs of this stool are very much like the important events in a story. So if you think about a story like, let's think, the movie Frozen, okay? So let's think about Frozen. There were some really important things that happened in the story Frozen that if those things didn't happen, the story really didn't make sense, okay? So the first one is that Elsa had to have powers, right? And they had to be kind of dangerous powers, or it wouldn't have made sense. So Elsa has to have powers. Elsa has powers. That's one of our major events. Their parents died. That was a major event. Elsa can't control her powers, right? So those are major events. And then Anna goes and tries to find Elsa. Are there any other big events that happen in Frozen? Yeah, there's quite a few, right? So Hans betrays her. What else? Oh, that's a good one. Now, the extra stuff, okay? Now, when I say extra stuff, if this stool was another color, would it support you because it still has its legs? Yes. If I put stickers all over the top of this stool, would it look different? Yeah. Would it still support you? Yes. Okay? So those are called minor details. Things that you can change a little bit, but it doesn't change what actually happens on this stool, the function of this stool. So our minor details in our stories are things that don't necessarily have to be there. Olaf singing about summertime is great, but it doesn't have to be there to make the story make sense, right? It's extra. It's like adding a sticker on top of this stool. So we just finished reading A Very Stuffed Turkey, right? Now, what were some of the main events in The Very Stuffed Turkey? Well, first, he got invited by a lot of people. So I'm going to write invited on this leg. He got invited to a lot of different people's house. Then what? What was another important thing that happened in the story? He overate, right? He overate. That was another important thing that happened. What else happened in the story? He fell, right? He fell down and got really sick. I'm going to say fell down because we don't really know what happened. It just says that when he opened his eyes, everybody was around him. Fell down. What was one more thing that was really important to the story? How he solved the problem, right? So how did he solve the problem? He said, everybody's coming to my house next year. So I'm going to put my house. Or you can write Turkey's house, right? Now, were there lots of other things that happened in the story? Yeah. Like what he ate at Horse's house, right? They had oats and other things. That's a decoration or a sticker on the stool, right? It doesn't really affect if the stool is going to stand or not, what they ate for dinner. What about them playing, pumpkin ball in the front yard? That's another sticker. It doesn't affect the whole story, right? Just a little bit. It just makes it a little more interesting to look at. What were some other details? What were some other stickers on this stool? Think about it. What were other things that didn't affect the whole story or the function of the story that were just stickers? So remember, the stickers are like minor events, decorations. things that make it more exciting, but don't necessarily have to be there. A major event is like the legs of that stool. They have to be there so that you can sit on the stool and understand it, right? Okay, guys, I am going to let you identify some of the major events in the next story. Bye, guys. We just talked about how the major events and minor events are very much like a stool that is supported, right? So the major events are like the legs of a stool. So you are going to create your own anchor chart by dragging these labels. So I've made some labels for you. Where are the major events going to be? Right here, right? They're the legs, the major events. Now, you're going to decorate your stool and label the minor events. So you can color this in whatever color you want, and that would be a minor event, right? And if we used the shapes, you can stick shapes on here, and you can also label those as a minor event. So if I'm going to label mine, I'm going to move my major events out. Here we go. There's one. Remember that you can turn these by just moving. I'm going to label all of my legs. And then I'm going to decorate my stool, maybe even color my stool, and label it as minor events, right? Things that don't really matter. You have to have your legs, you have to have the top, but you do not have to have a colored stool, right? So that could be a minor event. You do not have to have hearts on top of your stool, right? I don't have to have those, so that would be a minor event. Now, if you have a lot of minor events, I think I've put 6 little minor events. Just label a few. So if you put a whole bunch of hearts, just label 1 heart. Okay? If you color this up here, put a minor event here. This is just to help you remember what the major and minor events are.